Counter, Skinny Pop, El Dorado Cafe, Infinite Monkey Theorem, Pasta and Co., unless that's supposed to be pronounced Pasta and Company. I spoke at Google. It's on my bio. When people read my bio, it says Saul Paul, he did 2 TED Talks. He performed at the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts and Google HQ. And I'm like, why do they think they were supposed to say HQ? It was supposed to be headquarters. So I didn't want to do that to Pasta and Company. So Party People, To Go Co., St. Arnold Cider, St. Arnold Beer, our NLC Fellows class of 2017. Represent, represent. And of course, we want to thank the Capitol Factory for this beautiful space and location. You have 15 minutes to continue to network, enjoy yourself, and create the vibe so we can celebrate tonight's champions. Thank you. Okay, but you can go ahead. One time, can we give it up for DJ Mahayalani? Two time, can you give it up for yourselves? This would be the part of the evening where if you are one of our award recipients, you want to position yourself for your moment. If you are invited, I take better pose photos, okay. You gotta be more subtle if you want to candid. But if you came to support someone, this would be the time when you get a great seat so that they can see your smiling face and be encouraged so that they can look you in the eye when they speak to you. If you are part of the 2019 cohort, this is when you stop drinking as much and you stay focused. It's a long night. I see y'all over there. And for everyone else, this is when everyone says, shh. I do this, son. Like, I do this. It's magical. I don't know. Okay, so let me talk. Okay, really? Okay. Let me talk about me now, so I don't have to talk about me anymore this evening, and to put all the focus on everyone that we're here to celebrate, because I keep seeing the awkward stares. I can tell some of you are new to the city, so you don't know who I am. So, some of you have never seen me without a cap that says my name on it, so you don't recognize me. And some of you don't like good music, so for all those who don't know me, my name is Saul Paul, S-A-U-L-P-A-U-L. That is one word, two capitals, no space. You can feel free to call me Saul Paul. I'm a proud graduate of the prestigious University of Texas at Austin. Graduated from UT about 10 years ago, a little bit over 10 years ago. And when I graduated, my degree was in radio, television, film. I knew I was a storyteller. I knew I wanted to change the world. I figured that I could entertain, inspire, and empower the world, make it a better place if I told good stories. And that's what I've done. I had the honor to impact over 1 million people through my live presentations as a keynote and through my concerts. I also love to write, so I'm an author, and I'm really most excited about recently starting a coaching company where I can really go deep and help others live their best life and be the change. 2 years ago, I was invited to speak here, or to MC. That was right after I won the 2017 Austin Out of the Year Award. As well as when I won the Arts, Media, and Entertainment Award. And so they invited me back last year, and they keep inviting me back, and so I'm gonna keep being me. So let me give y'all some ground rules. Tonight is about the people that we will be celebrating. They deserve your attention. It doesn't have to be undivided, but we wanna be respectful. We wanna celebrate them. Tonight is also about the 2019 cohort. Can you give it up for them one time? If you do not know them, you should get to know them. They are part of the program. They are a new leadership council leader for a reason. There's something that's special about them, and if you don't know them, it would benefit you to take a moment to get to meet them so you can see what some other people already know. So with that, with no further ado, let me get to it. Again, welcome to the 2019 Progressive Champion Awards. This is the 4th annual New Leaders Council Austin fundraiser. We have a great event planned for you. We are so excited to tell you about this year's award winners, local progressives who reflect the values of this chapter and who earn the respect and admiration of these fellows. I wanted to take a moment to again recognize our sponsors. Can we give it up for our sponsors? Our silver progressive leadership sponsors are Reginald Benz. Okay, let me lead with this. It's not personal. Charge it to my head, not my heart. If I pronounce your name wrong, if I pronounce your name wrong, probably somebody else has done it in life, and you knew it could happen. So you should have came up to me before I started, if you really cared that much. So like, don't be salty where you are when I say it wrong. You could be like my friend Soira. I said it wrong, but where's she at? Sorima? Okay, they like close enough. I speak for a living. I'm in front of lots and lots of people. I know that I'm not great at the name thing, so out of love, I usually give people nicknames anyway. So, but let's try to make it through this list. Reginald Benz, Carol Doshin, Montserrat Garibay, Dr. Pritesh Gandhi, Kevin Height, Carol Hunt, Autumn Kaiser, Julie Niche, Michael Schaefer, and Selena Kai. All right. I don't know if you're clapping for them or for me, because I like halfway did that right. Gold Progressive Leadership sponsors, Ashley Ching, Diana Limon Mercado, and Roll and Julie Fellows. Progressive Champion Awards honorary co-chairs, Anna De Freitas, Boning Gao, and Shu Hasu. Progressive Champion Awards honorary host, Rebecca Weber. Grassroots Coalition sponsors, Progress Texas, Rouser, Texas Freedom Network, and the Travis County Democratic Party. Our Persist sponsor is Originator Studios. And now, here's Christian Bell and Kelsey Hitchingham, this year's New Leadership Council Austin Chapter co-chairs, to kick us off.
Hi, everybody.
I'm gonna be me. They told me, so Paul, we're gonna give you a mic, and you gotta keep the mic. There we go. I know, because they like, it's not me. I don't like the mic that much.
It's all right, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Kelsey Hitchingham, and along with Christian Bell, we are the co-directors of this year's NLC Austin cohort. We would like to officially welcome you to our 2019 Progressive Champion Awards ceremony, where we honor progressive members of the community whom we admire and whose causes we want to recognize.
Started in 2016, the NLC Austin chapter has trained more than 60 progressives through the Institute program, a 6-month flagship training program hosted annually. These leaders are rising entrepreneurs, community advocates, and nonprofit leaders working to make Austin a truly progressive city. We thank you all so much for coming out to support us, our chapter, and celebrate our fellows and our awardees tonight.
Get ready, get ready, get ready. And now, for the heart of our event, the 4th Annual Progressive Champion Awards. As we prepare to honor our awardees, I want to recognize any past awardees in the audience. Please take a bow, wave a hand, chunk a deuce if you're here. All right. This year, after a nominations and voting process, these 4 incredible people and organizations were selected to be honored for their work in Austin's progressive community. The new Leaders Council, Austin 2019 cohort, has chosen to honor these champions because of their passion, persistence, and their labor that they have spent working to make our communities better. Here is 2019 fellow Sarah Ortiz Shields to introduce the Rising Star Award.
Hey everybody, thanks for being here. I am so honored and excited to present our first award of the evening. This year's Rising Star awardee is whimsical and compassionate and hardworking. Ash Hall is a Travis County Democratic Precinct Chair, legislative advocate, an educator, and a voice for the queer community. When Ash was in high school, So when Ash was in high school, the only time they got into trouble was for wearing a clip-in strip of purple hair. And so in response to this, they wrote an essay called Bitching About Colors. This should have been the first clue that they were going to be an activist and stand up for the rights of all. At only 28 years old, Ash has helped to kill over 70 bills aimed at attacking the LGBTQ community. And their precinct had amongst the highest voter turnout in the county due to their organizing efforts. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Ash. Ash Hall is a Democratic precinct chair and content manager with Texas Civil Rights Project. A native Houstonian, they became involved in social justice advocacy in Texas a decade ago, after discovering their own queer identities and finding community with others facing oppression. They went on to graduate with a BA in psychology from UT Austin in 2013. Ash's previous work includes Representative Celia Israel's campaign, the Gay and Lesbian Victory Fund, Equality Texas, and Representative Victoria Niave's legislative team. Ash is committed to reaching justice for all marginalized communities and changing cultural norms in favor of compassion and equity. Congratulations, Ash.
Wow, what an incredible honor. Thank you so much. I don't really identify as a rising star in the sense that I have never seen myself as being alone in this work. And I think one of my favorite things about this award is I feel like it's not just a recognition of my work, but of my community's work. So I see myself as more of a part of a rising constellation of people in the queer and trans and progressive communities that are dedicated to lifting each other up, rising together, and making sure that we're all going to be okay and that we're all going to create the world that we want. I got started in this work about 10 years ago and was really sparked in particular by something kind of tragic. There had been a rash of queer youth suicides. These were kids that were in high school or younger. They felt alone, they felt that they had no advocates, and they died largely feeling that they were alone. And I had found myself relating to that for years myself, and I, at that point, was incredibly angry and felt alone, and I wanted to see something change. And thankfully, I did make my way down to Austin and found my community. And we did rise up together, and I found person after person that was willing to invest in me and saw my potential and make sure that I had all the tools and the understanding that I needed to be the best advocate that I could be. And so I really just want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody, especially in this audience, who over the past 10 years has been there for me and helped me become the person that I am today. I don't think any of us really rise alone. We all have our communities at our back, there every step of the way, making sure that when we stumble, there's someone there to catch us, that we are held accountable when we make mistakes, and that we do celebrate when good things happen. And I think what happened in this legislative session is something worth celebrating. It was not perfect, but we did defeat about 20 anti-LGBTQ bills. That's amazing. And that wasn't just me. That was tons of queer and trans people who would come to these hearings and rip their souls open and bear their traumas for everybody in the name of getting someone to recognize our shared humanity and hoping that somebody would be there to defend them. And even though we should never have to do that, I think that raising our voices together like that really did work. And in the end, the legislature was only able to pass one really weak anti-LGBTQ bill that basically just said that Chick-fil-A is allowed to be in airports even though they're bigoted and their chicken's pretty mediocre. So ultimately, not a bad place for the LGBTQ community to be. I do know that we suffered losses in other places. That's just a sign that we all have to work even harder next session. And part of the way that we're going to have to do that, I will get a little partisan here, we need to flip the House. We need to get out the vote. We need to activate communities that have traditionally been silenced, including by people that do look like me, that look like us. And we need to go ahead and make sure that their voices are heard and that they're out on the front lines, being respected, being heard, and making change with us. So the way that I see it is leadership is just a fancy word for service. And part of the service that we have to offer everybody is finding folks that have the potential to be leaders the way that all of us, I think, in this room are, and making sure that they're given the same opportunities we've all been given. And I'm really glad that NLC exists because I think that is one of the purposes of this organization. So I'm very proud of the 2019 class and of that organization as a whole. And it does feel good to be recognized as a leader by fellow leaders, so I thank them for that. Last but not least, just a couple quick thank yous. Thank you to my family, my mom and my little brother in particular, for making sure that I always had someone to turn to even when I did feel lonely. Thank you to the Texas Civil Rights Project and all of my coworkers there. Part of the reason I was able to accomplish as much as I did in the legislature is because they were willing to let me take days off or even work from the Capitol just to make sure I could defend my community. That is a big deal, and I thank them for that. I would absolutely be remiss if I didn't thank my partner, Sarah Ortiz Shields. I did not know she was going to introduce me tonight. That was very sweet. But I do want to thank her for being somebody who has helped me grow quite a bit, and somebody that I can bounce my hardest questions off of. I think every advocate needs that moving forward. It's just somebody that you can turn to when you're having a hard time and when you have like really hard questions to ask. So thank you, Sarah. And I also just want to say I can't believe that I'm being recognized at an event that Diana Limon Mercado is also being recognized at. She's an incredible leader. I'm so glad to see her being honored as well. I consider her one of my biggest role models and also as somebody who has recognized my potential and really let me fly. So thank you, Diana. And I think that about covers what I have to say. Thank you, everybody, for the last 10 years for having my back, helping me grow into the person that I am today. And I hope that you will find other people and bring them along for the ride. I certainly intend to. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.
One more time, can we give it up for Ash? Many powerful things in that brief speech. One key thing, leadership is just a fancy word for service. And now, congratulations. And now we're going to introduce the Innovation Awardee. Now introducing the Innovation Awardee will be 2019 fellows Mandy McClendon and Emily Gray.
Hello, I'm Mandy McClendon.
And I'm Emily Gray. So our next award is for innovation. We really wanted to highlight someone who's truly bringing new ideas and novel ways of achieving goals to the table. We're proud to honor Measure with this award. They are an organization that works to use data and education to empower communities to eliminate social disparities.
Measure has 3 goals. 1, to address systemic inequities using data. 2, to connect institutions to the people they serve for collaborative solutions. And 3, to provide disruptive, informative, and innovative training. With a team of volunteer researchers, advocates, and community members, Measure has done significant work to move the social justice needle forward through data-driven civil engagement. By using quantitative research, Measure works to bridge the gaps of disparity and elevate equity in institutions that serve our families, communities, and loved ones. Because of this excellent work in the Austin community, we are honored to present Measure with this year's Innovation Award.
So I guess let me start off by saying we do this work because we do not want our children or our grandchildren to have to do this work, right? For 400 years plus, we've worked hard, we've marched hard, we've fought hard in order to see a world that values humanity. And so I'm honored to continue to push the needle forward. Measure's been around since about 2015. Started off, again, fighting against systemic oppression, but has led us to this point that we've decided that collaboration is the answer, or at least it can get us towards the answer. And so I'm excited now to say, first of all, thank you for this. That's number one. My brother here told me earlier, he said, this is hardware season for y'all, right? Like, yeah. And so we're going to continue to grind. We're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to bring people together that typically would never have conversations together, such as police officers and activists and researchers and techies, in order to come up with collaborative solutions around policing, right? We're going to continue to lead the way as a Black-run research and data-driven organization in order to train police officers and have them actually come to our trainings and leave with credit, right? You don't see that happening. We're going to continue to fight against systems in school that are oppressing our kids and that are locking up or charging our kids with assault when they should not be. We're going to continue to do the work that needs to be done. And I am so excited to be able to do this work with my amazing team. And then especially with my amazing teammate and my partner, who I love dearly, Eric Bird.
Thank you. So I guess my role here is to thank all of the people in Measure who couldn't be here. So we have an amazing team of researchers, we have a development team, we have a team of just passionate activist community members and intelligent people, the smartest people I know. They're working hard, volunteering their time just to help end these disparities. We work for the communities whose voices aren't heard. A lot of times our stories are pushed under and swept under the rug for who knows what reason, for financial reasons or for cultural reasons or for philosophical reasons, but these stories need to be heard. Just because you can't measure them doesn't mean it's not important. So that's what we do. We come in and we put numbers to the stories. So I'd like to thank those members who aren't here, Eric Anderson, Paul Quincy, Paulette Blanc, Yasmin Smith, Mercedes Perry, and Nick Hollins. I'd also like to thank my partner and our fearless leader, Mimi Styles. And so Mimi is a social media icon right now. And most people think they know Mimi, but you may have no idea. She has a full-time job. And she's a mother of 3 incredible children, teenagers. And then late at night, in the darkest of hours, she does Measure, and she works for the people. So I'm inspired by her every day. And so, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to the new Leadership Council and for inviting us here and presenting us with this award. We really do appreciate it.
I know. I was like, what? It's not doing it. It's not going anywhere. One more time, can we give it up for Measure? hardware season, slang for trophies. When I saw her earlier, I told her, yeah, it's hardware season. She just won she just won an Austin Measure, and herself just won an Austin Under 40 award. She's been awarded this award. I didn't know how many children she had, but I know that she just had one, if not two, young men graduate high school. That itself is an award. I know, so salute, especially raising African-American males. I know what it's like. I am an African-American male. I think this would be a great time. I probably wasn't gonna mention it, but to segue to our upcoming cohort that we'll share, and we spoke briefly, but myself, I mentioned that I graduated from the prestigious University of Texas at Austin. I'm an African-American male. When I graduated, I identify as an African-American male. But when I graduated with a 4.0, but that's not the twist. The twist is, before I graduated, I was convicted of 4 felonies and sat in the Texas State Penitentiary. And the room goes quiet. Look at that. I was locked up in the state penitentiary, convicted of 4 felonies, and I realized that it was my choices, and I saw these systems and how they played a part in my downfall. I took my personal ownership, and so when I see work and understand what Measure is really doing, I want to share that. I want to salute y'all for the work that you do, the conversations you create. And I love it when other African-American males don't have to go the route that I went to get where I got, and it's mothers and organizations like Measure. So one last time for Measure. And now I get to introduce the Community Impact Award. I get to introduce the cohort who will provide the Community Impact Award. I get to introduce Soraima, who came up to me before we started so I could get that right. But she did not go over the last name, so I'm just gonna stop while I'm ahead.
Hi everyone, buenas noches, how are y'all? Yeah? Thank you for doing such an amazing job emceeing Sao Paulo. My name is Soraima Pelaez. I'm a 2019 NLC Fellow and incredibly honored to introduce our next progressive champion. Diana Limon Mercado is the Deputy Director of Planned Parenthood Texas Votes and the first Latina chairwoman of the Travis Democratic Party. Travis County. Amazing. Diana is a seasoned nonprofit professional, proven grassroots organizer, working mom and wife, and a native Austinite. And her previous experience includes advocacy work with the Texas TCJC, the Coalition of Texans with Disability, Texas Medical Association, to name a few. Diana has served on various community boards that focus on women's rights and health and organized with Annie's List, the Capital Area Democratic Women, YWCA Greater Austin, and the Central Health Community Champions. So it's safe to say that Diana Limon Mercado has reached Chingona level expert. Highest status there is. So, I mean, y'all, this is a woman who, and I witnessed this, spent all day at the Capitol on her birthday fighting to protect local health care. This is a woman who ran for office while she was pregnant. I had the pleasure of working with her in coalition this legislative session, and I marveled at her insight, her strategic vision, her steadfast leadership, and just every time she talked, I was like, okay, I can write this down. Like, let me just try to remember everything. This is just how committed she is. Diana has done and continues to do so much for our community, not the least of which is inspiring activists and Latinas like myself to believe that not only do we belong in this movement, but we should be leading it. And with that, please join me in thanking this amazing mujer for her leadership and give it up for our 2019 Community Impact Awardee, Diana Limon Mercado.
Thank y'all so much. My baby is almost a year on Friday. And I also have a 6-year-old as well. And I haven't stopped crying since I had my year-old baby. So I'm probably going to cry again. I just can't thank the New Leaders Council enough. I am so proud to be part of Ash Hall's constellation, part of a community that supports where Measure can thrive and is doing important work, and where great organizations like Mama Sana are here also doing work. I'm incredibly honored to be the first Latina chair of the Travis County Democratic Party. And like I said, a community where all of these great people exist. But at the same time, while it's an honor to be the first Latina chair, it's also slightly disappointing that it took this long in a community that's almost 40% Latinos to have the first Latina chair of the party that is supposed to represent our community and our people and our movement. So if you are a diehard Democrat who's with me, if you think the Democratic Party is kind of problematic or problematic as fuck, but that's all we've got, then work with me, y'all. The party, like anything else, is only as good as what we put in, and only as good as the work and the vision and the people that we put in. And we want to build a party that truly represents all of this and all of the issues that we care so much about. And I know that with organizations like the New Leaders Council, we have the talent to move our party forward here the way that we want to see it, representing the people and the issues we care about. So I hope that y'all will join me as we move our party forward to the elections for 2020 and beyond, and making sure that all of our families can thrive in every way, and that we can thrive economically, with education, and with great programs like mentorship through NLC. I will say for me, I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college. My parents were teen parents. They went to Crockett High School and Austin High School. My mom worked at the Dairy Queen, and my dad worked at the roller rink on Stastny Lane. And they worked their whole lives to be able to afford to put me through college, and to be able to let me graduate from my undergrad without any debt, because they saved cash their whole lives to be able to put me through college. But when I got to college, into the professional world, I had no idea what mentorship was. I had no idea what networking was. I didn't know how you get a leg up, how you get your foot in the door. I didn't know any of that. And it took me years and years and years of feeling like an imposter everywhere I was, that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't have the right connections, I didn't have the right pedigree. And if there's anything I can leave y'all with today, it's just to say it took me 20 years to figure out that I was good enough and that I was smart enough. And I promise every single one of y'all is at least that good, if not better. And so I just encourage you to push yourself, to put yourself out there. The only thing holding you back, if anything, is maybe self-doubt, and you have no reason to doubt yourself. Every single person. I have heard so many amazing stories tonight and through the New Leaders Council. I am so inspired by all of the amazing people that I've met through the Leaders Council and through the years, and that I've know that have come through the program. And I just can't say enough about how important it is to support programs like this so that we have the leadership that we want for this generation and for the next generation. So I just want to thank y'all so much for this honor. I'm really proud to get the Old Lady Award. I was like, there's a Rising Star Award, so I'm definitely the Older Star Award, which I just thought was incredibly validating. So thank y'all so much. Thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you for supporting this great organization. Please get more involved with the party. Push us, challenge us. I have learned so much and continue to learn so much from the New Leaders Council, from our next generation, our current generation. They have just pushed me at every turn of the way to be a better progressive, to push myself, to push others, to challenge the issues, to challenge traditional leadership structures, to challenge traditional power structures. And it's because of great organizations like this breeding great minds and great new things for all of us. So thank you.
Can we give it up for Diana one more time? In the midst of all the amazement that is happening on stage, Ash left something up here. So I figured this would be a good time for y'all to just like, if y'all want to come up, don't know if you want to provide it to it, present it to us, Sarah.
You gotta get your photo up.
Then let me get out the way for photos. If you water it, it will grow. All right. Now, I get to introduce the Community Impact Award. I get to introduce the fellow that will introduce. That's what happens when you just read it as written. I get to introduce the fellow who will introduce the Community Impact Award for a group. That would be the 2019 fellow, Ashley Ching.
Chang. You got it.
Chang?
That was good. That was good.
You saw it coming, right?
I did.
She was like, I saw it coming.
I didn't find him. That was smart, Zoraima.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ashley Chang. I'm a co-founder of Rouser and a co-host of the Rabble podcast. Thanks, guys. I was wondering if that shameless self-promotion would be a bad idea, but I appreciate it. NLC's primary goal is to nurture and to care for future leaders. And this year's Community Impact Award is going to an organization that does just that. I'm so proud to be able to present this award to Mama Sana Vibrant Woman, yes, whose mission is to improve pregnancy and birth outcomes for communities of color in Central Texas by providing education and support. Mama Sana provides free, culturally appropriate, quality prenatal and postnatal care for Black and Latino women with the goals of improving birth and breastfeeding outcomes, as well as a birth companion doula program. These programs provide care to the most vulnerable in our community while training the next generation of midwives and birth workers of color in Texas. Congratulations, Mama Sana, and thank you for your work in helping to raise a future generation of local leaders of color.
Good evening, everyone. How are y'all doing? Good. So my name is Paola Rojas. I'm a midwife, I'm a mother, and I'm one of the co-founders of Mama Sana Vibrant Woman. And I'm going to let everyone take a second to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Lourdes Caman.
Hi, my name is Trisha Trice.
Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor Huntley.
So thank y'all. This is part of our crew, of our organization, but first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to the New Leaders Council for the award, but also for having an award that focuses on collectives and groups of leaders and not just individuals. The story that I wanted to tell you briefly about our organization is that we are a nonprofit organization that has all free services. Everything we do is without cost. But we're not just a regular nonprofit organization. We're actually the baby, the infant that was birthed by a grassroots organizing collective in 2008 called Mamas of Color Rising. And Mamas of Color Rising was an all-volunteer collective of Black and Latina, poor and working class mothers who ourselves were struggling with all kinds of systems to be able to raise our own children, birth our own children. And we started to build power through potlucks and gatherings with lots of babies, lots of food, lots of noise, to try to build a community of collective power for poor and working class mothers of color in Austin. We spent years kind of listening to what others were going through. And we didn't want to create an organizing project based on our own interest, but we wanted to do it based on what we thought was most needed in the community. So we went out and did just like that. We went out and did community surveys with a few hundred people, other mothers of color who were waiting in welfare offices, sitting for hours waiting for their appointment, or in WIC centers, sitting and waiting, where we were able to talk to them. And we talked to hundreds of mothers, and it wasn't that the biggest issue that came out was maternal and infant health problems or challenges, because other things we know are getting in the way for low-income mothers of color around housing, around around transportation, around access to decent paying jobs, around the fact that we don't have paid leave, etc. Those are all the things that came out. But what did come out, not numerically highest, but when it came out was very intense, was people having very traumatic experiences during pregnancy and birth. Now it's all over the media. You all know about maternal and infant mortality and the racial disproportionality in the country, in the state, and in the city. Back then, we didn't know about that. It wasn't about outcomes. Now we're trying to improve outcomes. It was about autonomy. It was about dignity. It was about self-determination, where people were feeling that during pregnancy and birth, they weren't, their voice was not being respected. Their choices were not being respected. And people, as opposed to all of y'all that are mothers in the room, know that it can be the most transformational, amazing experience of your life. It could be a violating traumatic experience as well, under harsh conditions. And the intersections of racism and sexism and classism is what's making it extra burdensome for poor Black and Latina women during pregnancy and birth. That's why we created Mama Sana Vibrant Woman, to address that by us, for us, and about us. So, in 2012, we launched Mama Sana Vibrant Woman as an all-volunteer itinerant clinic, which was not even a space. It was just a phone number that you could call and find out how you could get help. If you're pregnant, you don't have insurance, you don't have support, you don't speak the language, it doesn't matter, we'll take care of you. And we did that for 4 years until we actually started to have staff and become a nonprofit. So we ran voluntarily a whole underground system to support low-income Black and Latino moms for 4 years. Now we have 7 people on staff, 10 paid birth companions. This is just part of our crew. And Trishelle's gonna tell you a little bit more about what we're doing right now.
Pulling up my notes. Thank you all for coming out today and just recognizing all of the good work that all of these organizations are doing in our community. When I first got wind of what Mama Sana was doing within our community, I knew I had to get involved. See, when social media hit the scene was when I truly kind of understand the oppression that women of color, hold on, y'all. Got it. Let me start over. See, when social media arrived on the scene is when I truly understood the oppression against women of color across the globe. I always felt in my heart that something wasn't right, but generational trauma has a way of normalizing these things for us. But it's not normal. And Mama Sana Vibrant Woman gives me an outlet to do something about it. I started off as a volunteer, and now I'm the birth support director of the organization, encouraging everyone to get involved. We offer thank you. We offer prenatal and postpartum circles where women of color can come in and have a safe space to express themselves and be vulnerable. And also intentional. We have monthly wellness clinics where they have exercise, midwifery services, and also massage. We also have childbirth education classes, which our next one is coming up June 22nd. So if y'all know any expectant parents, let them know, come out, we teaching. We also, you can just let all of the Black and brown women that you know in the community, let them know that we have birth companions that look like them and also is culturally congruent with them as well. And all of our programs offer a hot meal, transportation, and childcare. And again, I just want to thank you for this award and recognizing our commitment to these women in our community. Thank y'all. Oh, this is beautiful.
One more time. Congratulations, Mama Sana. What an incredible group of award winners this evening. It has been awesome, but yet it is not over. Let's give it up one more time for all of our award recipients. And now, the fellow that shall introduce this year's keynote speaker, 2019 fellow, Ashley Juraska.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Juraska. I'm a 2019 New Leaders Council Fellow. And I have to tell y'all, when I walked into that room on the first day of the Institute, it was cold because it was January and we moved to Austin to be away from cold, right? And there were 19 other people in the room that I knew were incredible people because we had their bios already. And it was very intimidating because we were going to go through this 6 months program and we didn't really know what to expect. But as the day went on, we learned each other's stories, and an Alan Turing quote came to mind. Sometimes it's the people who nobody imagines anything of who do the things no one can imagine. And that really spoke to our class and what our class has really already done and is going to keep doing. Unfortunately, our original keynote speaker, Wendy Davis, had to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances. And so our class really wanted to bring you a high caliber speaker, but we were pressed for time and a little panicked, and we looked around and we thought, well, who could fill Wendy Davis's shoes? And we thought about the things that we admired in Wendy Davis, the fact that she has stood up time and time again for the causes she believes in, despite the odds against her, and the fact that through deeds, not words, she's empowered future leaders because she knows that we have to have future leaders if we're going to have a successful movement. And so we looked around and we realized, wait a minute, we have somebody in our class who fits those things. And that person is Diana Gomez. So Diana has been told, you're not good enough, you can't do this. And she's turned around and she said, watch me. And she's also supported lots of others throughout her career. She has worked with high school students who were the first in their families to go to college, and she specialized in working with undocumented and Spanish-speaking parents so that they could understand the college application process for their children. She's worked, she did a Fulbright in Brazil. She's worked with people in detention centers along the border, giving Know Your Rights trainings and helping make sure they have access to legal services. She's worked with immigrant women in rural communities, helping make sure that they also have access to legal services. And most recently, she now works for Congressman Lloyd Doggett's office. And in her spare time, because working for a congressperson doesn't take up much of your time, she is working with a functional democracies project to have a guide to local government, and she is translating this guide into Spanish and making sure it's culturally appropriate and accessible to communities who have been left out of the city of Austin and that process so that they can have access to that. So I want to tell y'all that, again, when we looked around, we felt like Diana was really the person that we wanted speaking. And she's one of those people who didn't speak up much in class, but a lot of us talk a lot and say very little, right? Diana's the person who says a little and communicates a lot with that message. So without further ado, I'll let Diana come up here, but I'll say one more thing. We don't have Wendy Davis here tonight, but I think y'all will want to write this name down. It's Diana Gomez, because I have a sneaking suspicion that we're all going to want to say, we knew Diana when. So without further ado, Diana Gomez.
Trying so hard not to cry during that. And before I speak, I want to take some time to recognize and to thank some folks, beginning with my amazing mentor, Ana Rodriguez de Frates, who I don't know if you saw these beautiful awards back here, but besides being an amazing community leader, she's also an amazing artist. So thank you so much for providing our awards. And thank you so much to my fellow fellows in New Leaders Council. Y'all really pushed me to be vulnerable and sensitive when I didn't want to, but you really gave me that space and showed me a lot of love, so thank you. And I wrote this because, in the past I didn't want to fit that stereotype of being this angry Latina, but as the years go by, I'm embracing it and I love it. So here we go. A few weeks ago, I met a man who asked me why I got into politics. I told him I wanted to get involved because I was so angry at the ways in which harmful policies affected our most marginalized communities. I started talking about the kids that I used to interview for asylum cases who were locked up in detention centers along the Rio Grande Valley, and he interrupted me to say, if I could give you some advice, I would say to never let yourself get angry. Don't let your anger drive any decision you make. It's just best to never really get angry. Hearing this unsolicited advice made me angry. Now, I understand that anger can take many negative, hurtful forms, but anger is also a completely healthy and natural reaction to the place and the time that we live in now. In November of 2016, I heard an author, Roxane Gay, talking about anger on a podcast, and she said, "I hate being told not to be angry because angry is an appropriate response to so much of the injustice that marginalized people face. If you're not angry, you're not really paying attention. Something is really missing if you're not angry. And when people say, angry, don't get angry, what they're really saying is, don't make me uncomfortable. Don't make me have to confront my privilege. Don't make me have to change the comfortable circumstances of my life in order to really create change." Over the past 6 months, members of the New Leaders Council engaged in difficult conversations, pushing each other into sometimes uncomfortable positions and emotions. Challenging ourselves and facing ourselves helped us better embrace each other and grow closer. It was all necessary work in order for us to be stronger agents of this change. During this time, I loved watching all of us have fun together, learn together, even slack together. But I've especially loved the times when we got angry together. That emotion can force us to move, to become powerful, to speak up and act even if we feel scared or alone, because that indignation can become a driving force towards a beautiful revolution. Upon graduation, NLC leaders are supposed to take their activism back into their communities and workplaces to impact progressive change. And I'm so excited and honored to leave New Leaders Council Institute and kick ass with all of y'all. Together, creating this change with hearts full of passion and maybe just a little bit of rage. Thank you.
At this time, we would like to thank Diana Gomez and present her with this small token of our appreciation. It has been a true pleasure getting to know you throughout this experience, and I, as well as the rest of our class, absolutely love you, and we know that you are going to go very far in life, and we will always be here to support you.
I feel like I'm in church. Is there anybody supposed to say anything? Might feel led right now? Okay. I shall. Okay. I shall progress. Pun intended. All right, friends, fellow progressives. I just caught that. That concludes our program this evening. Thank you again to our sponsors. I thought as much, but that's why I tried to set it up. No, just come up. You and Jamar, y'all just come up. There we go. And now, before you get to leave without helping us, now we have our ask.
Can you guys hear me? Is this on? Okay, good. Well, there's no surprise as to why I'm up here now. Thank you. Immigration reform, gender equity, domestic violence, women in leadership. This was the first day what was asked of us, what our passions were when we walked into New Leaders Council class. We were asked to circle what was important to us. I realized, as an Indian woman in mainly white spaces, nobody's ever asked me what I cared about. So the fact that New Leaders Council had asked us, really cared about what we cared about, and wanted us, our cohort, to work together on these issues was amazing. The Austin chapter of New Leaders Council launched in 2016, and it teaches people how to be leaders of the community, campaign and fundraise, write and work with policies, and work with the media. They are working with progressive people to put you out there. The fellowship members and alumni are diverse. There's 50 chapters across the country, 60% people of color. Yes, as you can see. 62% women. Our class, God bless Daniel, all women and one man. 18% LGBTQ. And the program works. In the 2018 primary elections, 62 alumni from NLC were elected into political positions. And we are not going anywhere. Lauren Underwood in November 2018 became the representative of District 14 in Illinois. She defeated Republican incumbent Randy Hultgren. She was an NLC alum in 2014 and was the youngest African American woman to be elected to Congress. Also in November 2018, we have Kendra Horn, who defeated Steve Russell to become the representative of the District 5 in Oklahoma. Horn became the third woman elected into Congress from Oklahoma, the first Democratic winning a representative election in 8 years from the state, and the first female Democratic representative in the history of the state of Oklahoma. She was an NLC alum and is on the. So why do we need money? Well, these organizations need money. Our cohort, our amazing cohort who are here, we got to enjoy a 6-month fellowship. It was free. We had alumni who brought in food for us. We had our amazing staff who set up the room for us. I mean, they did everything. It was free. But as you can imagine, this isn't easy, and it takes money. And don't be fooled, the other side, they have similar programs, and they have billionaires who put millions and millions of dollars into their programs that are similar. The Republican Party has billionaires who has put multi-millions of dollars into training their young candidates that are coming up. So we need to act. We need to step up. We need to put in the money, and we need to support and represent our progressive candidates. And I just want to call out my cohort, if you can all stand. Since we started, can you give them a round of applause? They're amazing. Since we started NLC back in January, we have a fellow who has brought her podcast to an even bigger level, which is amazing. I'm going to call out the Ravel again. Some of our fellows have said they are going to run for office. Some of our fellows have said they are going to run political campaigns for progressive candidates. And some of our fellows have started new jobs at Girls Empowerment Network and other, amazing progressive organizations. One fellow started her law firm. Another one's heading to law school. And we have supported each other every step of the way. So we need your support so much to keep this going in Austin. Thank you. And Jamar is going to say something.
Hi, everyone. Oh. Hi, everyone. How y'all? So speaking of women in leadership, I walked in the door and hugged Pooja, because I'm a Southern guy, so I'm a hugger. And Pooja said, I need you to walk up with me and do the fundraising pitch. And I was like, well, women in leadership. So I was like, I can't say no. So here I am. But what I wanted just to add is really that New Leaders Council really is not just an organization. It's not just a training. It's not just 6 months of folks getting together and coming together. It's a movement. It's a movement of change makers. It's a movement of people who are willing to put themselves on the front line for the change that we all say that we desire. I'm friends with a lot of y'all on Facebook, and I know some of the change that folks talk about, right? And so the New Leaders Council does that. When I walked into the program, I honestly thought that I was going to walk into a program and you're going to check the box, right? Many of us have gone to trainings where it's been one day, it's been half a day. It's the program you have to do to put on your resume. And when I came into New Leaders Council, I was actually at the very beginning of my career. I started volunteering. I'm from South Carolina, and I started volunteering on campaigns when I was in high school. So all through high school and all through college, I worked on a bunch of political campaigns. Now, I'll tell you, I'm from the South, so we lost a lot of them. So really, when I started New Leaders Council, I was pissed off. And being pissed off, right, somebody said, you need to channel that into something. And somebody asked me, have you heard of New Leaders Council? And I was like, no. And I was living in Atlanta, minding my business. And they told me that get your resume together and apply for the program. And so I decided to apply for the program. And it really is life-changing when Pooja and other fellows and other members of the cohort or alumni that are in the room tell you that this is a life-changing program. It really is. So I went from an angry young kid from South Carolina who worked on losing campaigns to moving to Texas later on in life. Now I'm working in politics 10 years later, and I get to work with Diana every single day. And we fight every day at the Capitol and in communities across the state to ensure that women have access to the health care they deserve and access to the health care that they need, and that we fight every day against the people in the Capitol on some of those particular issues. So for the folks who want to run for office, that's what we're doing. And so we really need your investment at New Leaders Council, because you're not just writing a check, right? You're investing in someone being a change maker. You're investing in someone fulfilling their dream. You're investing in someone fulfilling their vision. Someone started a law firm, and they walked in and said, I want to do this thing. Right, and the training and the development and the community and the networking allowed her to be able to do that. And so many great projects that we've seen come out of it. So we appreciate you being here tonight. We appreciate your support, and even we'll appreciate your checks as well. And don't be shy. FundNLCAustin.org. So make sure most folks have cell phones, iPads, all of that. And so we have it up here on the screen. So there's no excuse. So we want to make sure that we continue not just investing in the folks that have gone through the program, but that we can continue to expand this program so that we can train more people to implement their dreams and implement their vision, which means longer-term change here in Austin. Thank you all so much for being here.
FundNLCAustin.org. Thank you.
One more time, can we give it up for a wonderful evening? The evening is not over. DJ Mahayalani will be spinning for us shortly. But first, I want to acknowledge tonight's award winners. Can we acknowledge them? I also want to say to our award winners this evening, please hang around after we get the tunes spinning and we go back to networking, fellowshipping, and whatnot. Please, award winners, hang around. We want to take some photos. Can we give it up again for our sponsors? And let me again encourage you to visit the website fundnlcaustin.org where you can give your donations. DJ, kick it.